This is the plaintiff, Jose Merced. He says he hired the defendant to do some work on his 1970 Pontiac LeMans. He paid him for the work. Then the guy tries to hit him up for more money because he said he didn't anticipate how much time the work would take. He told the defendant to call the job off and now can't get back the $1,770 deposit he paid him. That's why he's suing. This is the defendant, Daniel Jones. He says he was willing, ready, and able to do the work he was hired to do on the plaintiff's old car, but the guy never brought him the parts he needed. He was nice enough to store the plaintiff's car for 8 months in his shop, and now the guy is suing him for a refund? He's accused of doing nothing.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he hired the defendant to do some work on his 1970 Pontiac, and the guy has been hitting him up for more money to finish the job. But the defendant says the plaintiff has been using his garage as a storage facility for the past 8 months, and he wants him out. It's the case of you're a real Pontiac pain.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Merced, you hired Mr. Jones's company, I guess it's Winter Park Paint, to refurbish your 1970 Pontiac LeMans, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Joanna.
He originally tells you that it's going to cost how much, Mr. Merced?
Well, he started with $1,500. After that, I went back to the shop. He was like, no, it's going to cost you $3,000. You know, by that time, I didn't even care, Joanna, because I've been putting a lot of money into my car. So I said, go ahead and do it. So before I went vacation, I came back and give it $1,000 more. So I give you $750 before, and after that, before I go to vacation, I went and I give it $1,000 more. And I went on vacation. When I came back, this gentleman, he didn't even tell me anything about he was moving to a new shop. So he took my car without permission, my floor pan that he had it from day one, the same day that he took the car to the shop, he took the floor pan. So he's lying.
What's a floor pan?
He said he was
What's a floor pan?
The floor pan is the whole piece of the car and the bottom where you put the feet left and right.
Okay, so you had bought a new floor pan? Is that what you're saying? That you had bought the part?
Yeah.
Okay, so he moved your car and he moved the part, and where did he move it to?
To the new location in Longwood without telling me anything.
So how did you find it?
Through the next door that he owed some money to the next door guy because he did a terrible job on his car too, you know?
All right,
so that's
so you
them.
find him, and what do you say to him when you find him? Hey, you moved and you didn't tell me, and you took my car, and...
Exactly. Where's my car?
And what
so
does he say to you?
Oh, the car is here.
So you end up telling him what? When you find him after he moved, were you so mad that you said, don't touch my car, or were you still willing to have him do the car?
Joanna, to that point, I was giving some break to the guy because I want my job done. You know, but I get to the point that I said, that's it, no more. I'm taking the car out of here because this guy, what he's doing is getting around, and he had the car almost for 2 years, and he didn't even touch the car.
Wait, how long did he have the car?
Like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Mr. Jones, let me ask you a question. What was going on here? What was the condition of this car? Why did you take it on? What did you do, if anything, to refurbish it?
We do a lot of these projects, and a lot of times with a project of that size, when you get into it, the rust is a lot more extensive than you initially see. When the original quote was given, it was just the front section of the floor pan, not the entire floor. Once the car came in, which I helped him take the engine out and brought it in, it's the entire floor pan and the rockers. He supplied the floor pan, but never did bring the rockers.
This is the car, correct? So what work did you do?
Nothing. You don't know how
Mr. Merced, I am not speaking to you. Mr. Jones, what work did you do on the car?
He never produced the rockers. We were unable to get a hold of him.
So the answer to my question is, after you gave him a quote, then you told him it would be more than that, and he said, fine. Did you ever work on it when it was in your possession? Yes or no?
It needed the rockers, and he never supplied the
So
rockers.
the answer is
we couldn't
no.
get a hold of him.
Right.
No.
You're saying it's not your fault, but no, you did no work on it, correct?
Correct.
All right. But here's the thing. I don't understand how a year and a half passes. Like if someone is supposed to do something and they don't do it, I'm on them like white on rice until they do it because that car is taking up room in my shop. So if there was something he was supposed, So if there was something he was supposed to do, where is the evidence of you calling him and emailing him and telling him you still owe me the rockers, you need to bring the rockers, I can't do any work until you give me the rockers, blah, blah, blah. Like where's all that if it was all on him that you haven't started the work?
Well, it said he left. He went to Puerto Rico. We could not get a hold of him. The car sat here. I stored the car indoors for him for over a year.
I'm sorry, hold on. Why couldn't you get a hold of him? Did he change his number? Because you know you can call the same phone number and it'll ring in Puerto Rico, right? It'll ring anywhere in the world. All right, so did you try to call him?
Yes.
Do you have any phone logs to show that? Let me see your phone logs that show that.
The only thing I have is text messages where he was being nasty. And
right, that's after everything hits the fan.
He told me, and he said that he sold the car because he couldn't afford to do the project, and the new owner was coming and getting it. And they sent a tow truck up. I gave him the car and all the parts. And after that is when he came saying he wanted his money.
Joanna, can I show you the receipt of the parts of the other shop did it? And the things that he said that he missing, he's lying because no parts missing. I have everything in there to do the job. He's a bunch, and I don't know why he give you that excuse that he was trying to call on me because his wife is Puerto Rican. So, you know better than that.
Yeah. All right, so here's a series of texts that happened this year in April. Hi, Danny, the check you gave me is good because I already deposit. And I spoke to your wife and she said, okay, go ahead. I want to know if any money on it because I need my money. What are you trying to say there?
I called, he gave me the check. He don't want to give me no check, but I said, no, I want a check so that way I can have a proof that I give you money. So he was like, okay, I don't like to give you no checks to nobody, but I'm going to give you a check. And I asked specifically,
Wait,
I said,
a check's
when
not
you
proof
want me?
that you gave him money. Stop. A check is not proof that you gave him money. A check is proof that he's going to refund your money. So you wanted the check and then you were going to hold on to it until he told you go ahead and deposit it. All right. So did his wife tell you to go ahead and deposit it?
Yeah, and he put a stop
and now,
payment.
Mr. Jones, did you stop payment on the check?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Why did you stop payment on the check? Why?
Well, first of all, when he said that he contacted my wife about whether the check was good or not, that's not true. He came into the facility and spoke to my office manager and told her that I said to give him a check. I was actually at a doctor's appointment. When I came back, she told me she gave him a check, and I told her to put stop payment on it for more than one reason. But
why would your office
wife.
manager, wait, stop. Why would your office manager write a refund check to a person without authority to the tune of $1,750?
Because he threatened and intimidated her. She's right here. She's my witness. She can testify to that
I'm
fact.
dying to hear from her. I want to hear from her.
Yes.
Put her on.
Yes, and then the other thing with my wife.
No, and then nothing. Put her on. I want to hear from her. Mr. Merced, stop talking. I'd like to hear from the office manager.
Damn liar. Oh, my God.
Okay, Douglas, can you please swear her in?
Absolutely. Ma'am, can you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Your Honor.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Melinda Medina.
Okay, Ms. Medina, talk to me and tell me what happened that day that would cause you, according to your boss, without any authority, to write an almost $2,000 check to a client who comes in. Tell me how that happened.
Welcome back to the People's Court. So did the defendant poop out on the Pontiac repairs? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
I was there by myself, and he came in and said that, I spoke to Dan, and he said give me my money back and whatever else because I'm moving to New York and I need the money. So, like I said, I was there by myself. I'm a little girl, and I don't like to, make trouble. Like I said, I was there by myself. I don't know him. I've never really spoken to him before. So this was a
Why
new
don't you just
person
say
to
no?
me in a lot of ways.
Are you too little of a girl to say no? Because then you shouldn't be the office manager. Are you too little of a girl to just say, I'm sorry, but my boss didn't say anything, that you're gonna have to come back when my boss is here? Why couldn't you just do that?
Because like I said, I was by myself. And as I said, I don't...
Oh,
his
you know what? You
mannerisms
can't
were
have
not
that
nice.
job. If you can't just say, well, then go to the back room and call the police if he's threatening you. I mean,
there is
how
no
is it
back
a
room.
believable story? Well, then just call the police if he's threatening you. Just you leave and leave him there if he's threatening you. I mean, this is silly. A guy comes in and says, I need a $1,700 check. Your boss said I could come pick it up. And instead of you calling your boss or telling him to come back when your boss is there, you write it to him because you're a little girl. You're setting back the cause of women like 1,000 years. Give the microphone
Not
back to your
really.
boss, please. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Nonsense, complete
Dan?
nonsense. Put your hand down, Mr. Merced. I don't need to hear from you. Stop talking.
She's
Okay?
not
Yeah,
gonna
I understand
listen
just
to what I
fine.
say, so.
They're a liar. Both of us, they was there when they give me the check.
Okay, Mr. Jones, who signed the check? Who
She
signed
did.
the check? She needs to stop
did.
talking. So does she have signing authority on your checking account?
Yes.
If she has signing authority, then she is what is called in the law your agent, okay? So
Okay.
what she does binds you. So you need to do one of two
Okay.
things. Fire the little girl who's too little to say no to a guy, or man up and stand behind what your office manager did, who's your agent. But you don't get to do both. You don't get to write a check and then turn around and stop payment on it. Particularly in a case where I've asked you, what work did you do? And the answer is nothing in all that time. Now, let me ask you a question. The
Yes.
check is written by a different company. It's written by Performance Auto Body of Longwood. What is that?
Correct. That is another shop in Longwood. The car was taken from Winter Park when we closed that facility and brought up here because I was going to help Mr. Merced and do the right thing. Mr. Merced went to my house on a Saturday when he knew I was at the shop, went to the house, accosted my wife and my 85-year-old father-in-law who has cancer, and threatened them in the front yard. My wife said
How did
she
he
gets
accost them?
nauseous. I don't know exactly what was said because my Spanish is not good.
What
That
did he say when he went to the house?
He wanted his money, that he was going to get his money one way or another. And I don't know the whole conversation. I was not there.
Okay.
I can just go by
How
what
did you
she
even
said
find
to me.
out where Mr. Jones lived? And why did you go to his house, Mr. Merced, instead of just suing him and getting the law involved?
The next door neighbor, the one that he owes some money to, he's the one that gave me all the details about his house, where he lived, and everything. He's a damn liar. That's what
you know
he
what's
is. That's how
ironic?
he made
You know
his
what's
money.
ironic, Mr. Merced? You know what's ironic, Mr. Merced and Mr. Jones? The irony is this. He employed Winter Park Paint to do a job. And you dissolved that company?
Yes.
Or is that company still? Yeah. And then a different company took over. Or you started a new company. Did you always have both companies?
No. And to correct where he started, Winter Park, the lease was up on that location. And we decided not to keep that location and move.
But why did you
everything
change
up here.
corporate names? It had to have something to do with bills. Why did you change the corporate name?
No, it had nothing to do with bills. It had to do with the fact that the other facility is in Longwood, Florida, in a different city in a different county. I didn't want to be in Longwood, Florida, as Winter Park. It's
So what did you call the second company?
Performance
That's the
Auto Body of
Performance
Longwood.
Auto Body of Longwood.
That's who he
And-
filed this lawsuit against.
Right. And here's the thing.
Yes.
This is what's actually priceless, is that if your little girl in charge of the office hadn't written the check, he would be losing this lawsuit because it's the wrong business. It's not who he did business with, and he can't collect against Performance Auto Body.
Correct.
But once your little girl in charge of your office writes him a check, he can sue Performance on this instrument, which you have stopped payment on, and now you are going to have to pay him the $1,750 plus his $20 that he got charged for for trying to his bank fee. The irony of all of this is that if you had just, and actually I really want Mr. Merced to understand this, if she hadn't written that check or he hadn't written that check, you wouldn't be able to do a thing but pick up your car because it's a different corporation. And you gave the money to the first corporation. So you would have zero. Even if that sounds super unfair, that's how it would be, because incorporating means something. And the second corporation doesn't have to honor the first corporation. But because he wrote you that check, you actually get to win. My verdict is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,750 plus the $20 plus, of course, your court costs. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Joanna. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So thanks to a check that he wrote, the plaintiff wins the case. The defendant may be surprised at this. Let's see what he's thinking. Mr. Jones, how do you feel about this?
Well, I don't feel it's right after all the lying and everything he did, but we always try to do the right thing. I tried to work with him, but he didn't want to.
Well, that'll do it then. You have to pay him the $1,770, his deposit. You got to give it back to him. That's what the judge has decided, and it's a judgment against you. All right, Mr. Merced, you're happy.
Yes. Thank you to you, all you guys and people for. There you go, Longwood.
Well, obviously, he's a very happy plaintiff here, happy that he filed the lawsuit and it came to the People's Court. Good for him. Let's see what the judges have to say, because there's a very interesting twist in this case. I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Here now, another edition of After the Verdict.
Parties in this case fighting over the restoration of this vehicle, a 1970 Pontiac LeMans. And I wasn't going to bring this up, and I don't want to be indelicate, but you never forget your first time. And the first car I crashed was a 1970
No
Pontiac
kidding.
LeMans. Yes, sir.
Was that when you
My
hit the
brother's
deer?
car, sorry about that, Jimmy. Ran it into the back of a car on an icy road somewhere. Not too bad. But interestingly, the plaintiff at the end here, it almost sounded like he was giving an acceptance speech. He was.
Yeah, I would like to thank the people. I want to thank the little people.
Court and all the little people.
He really needs to relax, though.
Okay, so Tam wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, what can one do if a contractor screws up work in your home, but you can't afford an attorney and legal aid won't help? And the damages exceed the value of the home, which is crazy. So, I mean, that's shocking right there. So small claims is out of the question if the damages are that severe. Fact is, a lot of contractors are licensed, and frankly, you should only hire a licensed contractor, and they have a bond. And you can go after them. You can go after the bond and get your money by going to the state contractors licensing board if they are bonded, which means if they are licensed. So if they are, that's what you should do. If they're not, you're going to have to go to court. And you're right, if you go to a court of general jurisdiction, you do have to hire a lawyer, and maybe he'll take the case and give you it on a contingency in case you win. We'll see you next time.